Alright guys, we're going to take you through our third protocol that we have here at Studio 41 for a home workout. Now this is a workout that really needs no equipment at all, and it is designed to go with the other two. We've kind of thought about them in conjunction. The idea is it's still a three-stage protocol. So you're going A1, A2, A3, and then you have 60 seconds rest at the end. But there's no rest between the first, second, and third exercise really. But after the third exercise, you're going to have 60 seconds off. Then you're going to go to a sequence of B exercises where it's B1, B2, B3. Again, no rest, 60 seconds at the end. And then you've got C's. You've got C1, C2, and C3 with 60 seconds off, oddly enough, after the C3. Week one, depends how deconditioned you are. You may want to do this once or you may want to do it twice, but that's as much as we would recommend. And then week two, you always add a round on. So if it was one on week two, if you did one round on week one, then it would be two on week two and three on week three. Otherwise, if you start on two, week two would be 3 rounds, week three would be 4 rounds. So let's talk you through this. The A1, a rear foot elevated split squat is here. Now, this is high enough, we don't expect you to have these at home, but this would be a chair, right? And it's, see how my foot is not resting here? It's flat. So actually a little bit higher than this would actually even be better. My goal is to take my knee as low as I can and come up through here. Now, don't speed this up too slow, but it's at least 3 seconds. So 3, 2, 1, up, 3, 2, 1, up. If you can't do 15 of those, you do as many as you can, clearly. And then week two, if you do 12 of those and you're kind of broken, then, and if you're stronger on one leg than the one leg you just did 12 on, stay 12. So if I do 12 only on my right, I'm going to do 12 on my left. Then week two, I'm going to go shoot for 13. Cool? After that, we're going to do a push-up with rear fly. So this is how this works. There's a different couple digressions that we can talk you through. But the push-up with rear fly is a push-up, oddly enough. But then I'm going to go thumb up, and I'm going to come up through here, nice and slow, and get the resistance through that scapula, and the gravity's pulling me through here. Man, it's a great exercise for pushing and pulling in terms of the upper body. If that is too much, you may just want to do no push-up, and then just try to lift up. I much prefer a thumb because that thumb allows your shoulder to drop down and get a better position posturally. If it's not, it kind of can be up here a little bit. So, shoulders back and up, back down. Push up, other side. Oh, that's tough, right? So, we're going to call that a push-up with a reverse fly. Then it's a wall hold. Wall hold is pretty simple. How can you stuff this up, really? But don't forget your legs are somewhat fried after that. Just coming through here, sit in here, and relax. Cool? Make this harder. You can actually drive your feet out. So what you're doing is you're actually pushing this way, but of course your feet aren't going to move. So if I push out, that becomes a lot harder. What most people do is they take their backs off the ground, hands on their hips, and just sit there. That's not really even working my quads at all. But if I'm straight, get down, and then push out, that is really tough. Cool? That's your wall hold. So you can do progressions. I would say that the pushing out, which you can't actually see me do, is the progression. First, you're straight, hands off, of course, and then weeks 2, weeks 3, weeks 2 and 3, you're pushing out. Cool, that's your progression. But that's your A1. Through here, rear foot elevator split squat, going to the push-up with a rear fly. Remember, thumb up for that. Helps to bring the shoulder blade down into your wall sit. Okay, B1, B2, B3. Now we want to work on more hamstring stuff. And we've got walking lunges. This is probably the exercise that I'm fussiest about the most because no one ever does them right. However, if you do them well, you don't actually need much weight, which is why they're great for home exercise. What most people do is when they walk through and they come up and then they just push through. It's more about pushing off the toe of this foot and getting through. The whole idea of a walking lunge is when I step, I'm now in a position for all this muscle stuff through here to pull through. So essentially what I'm doing is pulling my hips through. I do not do that if I come up and then just step through. Cool? It's a vastly different exercise when I step and then I pull and then I land my foot here and then I go down slowly. But what most people do, even if they get the pull right, they go in, they pull through, and they're already down here. I don't want that. I want to step. 3, 2, 1. I'm going to pull, hold. Then I do it again. 3, 2, 1, pull. That's the idea of a walking lunge. Slow it down and pull yourself through. If you do that, it's really, really tough. Then we've got what we're going to call an archer push-up. You can do this on the ground quite easily. All it is, I say all, I mean it's tough, but you're going to take one hand out as you come down and up. Good thing about this though is you can really play around with how much weight is on the hand that's doing the work, because you can assist more with this hand. I can really deload this hand and almost make it a one-handed push-up, or I can actually still push up. What I like is, as I go down, is to look outside that sliding hand, just a little bit of cervical rotation, up, then I'm going to go the other side, up. Easy enough, right? Well, I say easy, but it's actually really tough. You've got 16, so 15 of those. No, 15 of those is fine. I'm thinking they're one-handed, but they're not. So 15 of those after the walking lunges. Don't forget, though, the walking lunges, this is one side only. 1, 2, so you've got 30 to do if we say it's 15 walking lunges on each side. So you've got the walking lunges, you've got the archer push-up. Now you've got a hip extension. The hip extension, it's another slight exercise which doesn't look hard, but if you actually know what you're doing, it's really, really tough. So I'm going to lift up. As I take one leg off the ground, I'll do my left actually. Most times I don't lock my glutes in place. So as I lift up, it's my lower back that I feel, but I squeeze the heck out of my glutes. All I'm going to do is lift one leg. Hold. 3, 2, 1. Come back in, come back down. I do not like people doing this because they never lock in that posterior chain. So I'm squeezing as hard as I can on my glutes at the moment, and I want to be able to lift my left leg off the ground. But see how this doesn't drop? Most of the time, people just do this. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and there's no ability to really strengthen those hips. So slow down, squeeze as much as you can, extend, hold. 3, 2, 1, come back down, and go back up. Cool? That's your hip extension. And that's your 3. You've got your walking lunges. You can see how that's a posterior chain walking lunge. You've got the archer push-up, and then you've got your hip extension as well. And let's call it a hip extension with isometric bridge. Then we've got a single, I've got a dumbbell touch, but really it's just a single one-legged touch. Again, we're working on that posterior chain. I like this low because what it does when I'm low, I'm just making sure my back leg's not going to hit the wall. And it doesn't have to be dumbbell, right? It can be absolutely anything. But as I come down, you see the position that I'm in terms of my hips. I've really loaded this up. If it was like a midway thing and you're touching the top of a chair, you don't get the same mobility through your hips, so I want it low. Whatever it is. Jar of peanut butter. But you're coming through, and I want it tough enough that it's a stretch, and then I'm going to come back up. I don't like that foot on the ground. You may need to for balance, but I like to. If you're going to lift up through here, you've basically taken the sacroiliac joint through a full range of motion. You're taking it, loading it up, loading the glutes up, and then you lock it out by squeezing through here. Then on the way down, and just note on my opposite hand that the leg is on the ground. So my left leg is on the ground. My right hand is doing the touch. Come down, touch, back up. That is your single leg toe touch. That's more about balance, but then we've simply got running on the spot, which when effective is actually really, really tough. I'm looking at a clock now, it's on 0 seconds. So if I go here, if I did that for 30 seconds, I probably wouldn't be able to talk to you in the same way, but that's the goal. Now I slowed down a little bit, I've got a mic on my side here, jumped around a little bit, but the idea is you hit 1, 2, 3, and go as hard as you can for 30 seconds. It's almost like a 30-second sprint. But by the end of that, it's brilliant. It's a brilliant exercise for being at home, doing what we need to do, which is getting a nice result with minimal equipment. Now, third exercise is what we call a Russian twist. Feet are off the ground. What most of this, when you see some people do this, even though they do it with a kettlebell, what most people do is they keep this still and it becomes about the arms. Touch, touch, touch. What we want is we want you to rotate this. So it's coming down, and I rotate as far as I can. I don't even care if you touch the ground, that's irrelevant. What I want is rotate as far as you can and then come back up. Rotate as far as you can and come back up. And if you slow that down and really concentrate on rotation with your feet off the ground, that's really, really tough. And those you see. So you've got that single leg toe touch. Remember, I want it low, and that's really the objective. Keep this foot opposite hand. Keep the foot off the ground on the other leg. And the thing I always correct people, they always use the same hand. So just think, Jeff told me I'm there at home with you. I'm going to tell him I'm going to come and tap you and go, use the other hand, I bet you. So just use the other hand, come back. The reason why it's more gait-like when we walk, that's kind of a more natural motor mechanical thing to do. Then we've got the running on the spot, and then we've got the Russian twists. That is your third home workout. That is brutally tough, and good luck getting through that and progressing over the weeks.